Hello, today I'll be presenting the scenario for United Bank, which is a B2C and B2B financial services and products company that is looking to replace their current CRM with Salesforce. They're looking for a unified system to track their leads and sales pipeline and also track engagement. They are also experiencing some risks with regards to the large data volumes including 10 million different transactions and 20 million customers globally. So there's going to be a need for a Salesforce archive and cold storage here to progressively archive records as they are created. Other risks identified is, uh, of course, the data issues that are pervasive throughout the entire solution or current state. So we're going to need some rigor and data governance. So with a data steward who's provisioning a staging table via an ETL. The ETL then um, the ETL process will involve a staging data where they can load the data and then duplicate and cleanse it with the target schema mappings in mind, stakeholder alignment. The assumption I made is that Salesforce will be a system record for CRM data, and we'll have a core system record for the bank data, which is that core banking system that's currently being used. And we're going to move over to the actors now, which is includes executives, which receive sales club license because they oversee the sales team. Branch managers receive sales club license as well for the management of staff. The branch staff receive sales clubs or sales for voice licenses for being able to call customers. And they'll also be managing opportunities there too, along with their management. The Salesforce voice will also be leveraged with an Amazon Connect integration for the international calls that will need to be made in the solution. I considered Sales Dialer, but since they are an international company and they are contacting customers outside of the United States, so we can just use that. There's also the contact managers and the contact agents that are both external users. Internal users. They receive Service Cloud license and Salesforce Voice. The Service Cloud license for managing cases and Salesforce Voice for the international calls. Customers receive customer community license for their access to their own records, and the third-party agents, which are external service users, receive hard community license because they'll be needing access to leads for lead qualification. The hierarchy is partitioned by the different branches, rolling down from the executive to the branch managers, which is specific to the branch and branch staff. There's a global role hierarchy here too for the contact center management and the contract center staff. Moving on to system landscape, we have a single org that will be implemented here. Currently, their current systems are distributed across multiple different CRM implementations, but I'm assuming that we can use a single org because there wasn't any called out major differences in the processes that are defined. If there are differences, what we'll do is use record types to differentiate the different processes and have them follow different life cycles. We'll also enable multi-language for the internationalization of the solution itself, which needs to support in English, Japanese, Chinese, French, and German languages. We'll have a translation workbench with a translator that's translating metadata. We'll also leverage Visualforce email templates for emails that we send out, as well as Marketing Cloud for the internationalization, and then custom labels as well. We'll also enable multi-currency in this case with the default currency not called out, but we'll assume the United States dollars. The single org will have Salesforce Voice installed for the outbound calls and inbound calls for the service agents. The digital engagement will also be installed for the live chat feature. I considered using just the out-of-the-box classic live chat, but given the fact that this is a large customer base and they need to be able to track the conversations, I chose to enable digital engagement. Locate will also be installed for the geolocation and address validation, and then Salesforce Archive will be installed for the progressive archive of older records. We have Salesforce mobile app and mobile publisher also brought into the system. Salesforce mobile app for the internal users which authorizes with Oscode plus Pixie Flow. Mobile publisher for the external user, and they authorizes the same thing. The internal user will authenticate using SAML via Okta. Okta will federate entities from the Active Directory store. The external users will authenticate using the native credentials in Salesforce. They'll authenticate to the customer portal, and the external agents will authenticate using the Okta SAML single sign-on with a federated entities from the LDAP identity store. We have Amazon Connect for the Salesforce Voice, Marketing Cloud for the mass emails that will need to be sent, as well as tracking and engagement. The ESB will also be leveraged. They called out an ESB that it currently exists, so we'll continue to leverage that. There will be a core banking system that will manage and be the system record for financial transaction, financial products, and customer information. So we'll be able to integrate that with SOAP using SOAP protocol with the ESB, and ESB will then enable an API-led integration approach with reusable APIs that are then consumed by Salesforce for the system APIs. We have the ETL as well that will migrate data from the existing CRMs into Salesforce, and then there will be there's already a data warehouse that is really federating data from disparate sources into for visibility. We'll use that continue to use that for visibility itself as well. We also have S3 that's integrated using Salesforce Archive that will be able to expose data that's been in cold storage. Moving on to the requirements, it's fairly short number of objects here, but I'll talk through the requirements here and I'll walk through the object model itself. We have duplicate rules that will prevent the duplicate records for customers and contact records. So we'll have lead matching rules and duplicate rules on the lead object as well as on the contact object or the account object. We'll also have, as we migrate the data, we'll also have validation within the ETL to cleanse and deduplicate records, and then we'll also validate using locate on the address. And we'll make sure that as a part of the ETL that we validate the addresses as well. For the branch staff, we will allow for them to efficiently track prospects using the lead object and potential deals using the opportunity object. Native credentials will be used for the branch staff that need to be able to log in with the specific username and password. Actually, we'll use the SAML single sign-on, SAML-based single sign-on, which is facilitated by the external identity store that they currently have, which is Active Directory. There's the ability, there's a requirement where the customers need to be able to be linked to multiple different accounts. What we'll do is have an ACR account contact relationship that enables the management relationship between person accounts between customers. We'll have a ability for the bank account process to be streamlined using a screen flow and UI validation to make sure that there's no errors or unnecessary errors. We'll also have mobile publisher enabled for the customers to be able to log in using their credentials. We're going to retire the CRM solution, and we're also going to migrate the data from it. We're going to first set up duplicate rules and also have the ETL deduplicate using the data steward. We'll have a single customer master record for all the customers using the golden record approach, where we have, once data is migrated into Salesforce becomes system record for the single source of truth for the customer records, and that will have one single record per customer. We'll have the branch staff be able to create prospects and sales opportunities using the lead and opportunity object, and they'll convert the lead into an account and opportunity. There will also be real-time address validation using locate as a managed package. We'll have web chat functionality via digital engagement and live chat. There will be a frequent asked questions available in the contact centers for the contact center agents using knowledge articles and case knowledge as well. The mobile devices I mentioned earlier, we'll use mobile publisher for the external customers, and then we'll have Salesforce mobile app for the branch specific users, so they'll be able to log in using their credentials into the Salesforce mobile app that will authenticate using the SAML protocol via the Okta integration, single sign-on integration. We'll have a single org, like I mentioned, and we'll have record types for different variations and processes. And then we'll have Okta, of course, set up for single sign-on as a trusted IDP. The social media channel engagement will be, and segmentation will be facilitated by Marketing Cloud, which is especially good at that for segmentation, as well as triggered send and scheduled sends. We'll have the ability for branch staff to gather entity information using Marketing Cloud cloud pages that are then able to be entered into by them by them when they are on site at a workshop. So there will be a Marketing Cloud page for them to even show on a tablet for the customers to be able to fill out their information. We'll have lead duplicate rules to make sure that there's no duplicate leads. We'll have locate for the address verification. We'll have lead assignment rules for the branch assignment after a lead gets created. That will then be assigned to one of the branch staff that they will be responsible for reaching out via Salesforce Voice. They'll call them using Salesforce Voice, and that's integrated via CTI integration with Amazon Connect. There will be a Lightning web component for the branch staff to be able to view a map from their mobile device and desktop computer. They'll have a LWC map component that includes the locate generated geolocation that then renders on the map itself for the branch staff. The branch staff will then be able to go into a UI and create a update the lead with their sale area their sales interest. They'll flag the lead itself as being interested in insurance, investment, loan, and transaction. This will be a multi-select pick list, and that will be facilitated by ScreenFlow. The ScreenFlow itself will have deterministic suggestions for the customers to be able to, the sales managers, the branch staff to be able to then get the next best actions with deterministic suggestions embedded within the ScreenFlow. Once this customer expresses interest that they'd like to progress, that will then update the lead with the recommendation that they selected in the ScreenFlow. When the lead is populated with a recommendation, that will then trigger a triggered email via Marketing Cloud, and that will then conclude the PDF in a summary, a PDF with a summary of their conversation for them to receive. And then the sales opportunity that's created once the lead is converted will then be populated with a close date that is 2 weeks of the current date. The third-party agents will be able to access the solution using the third-party agent portal. That will then allow for them to gather prospects as well as enter analysis records as well. If the lead is specified as just the transaction type, then we convert automatically that lead to a person account, and then also populate the opportunity as well. If the lead is otherwise, what we'll do is have the lead converted manually by the staff manager member, and then the third-party agent will then convert. That will then create an opportunity as well as a person account. They will supply identification documents once they log in. So the customer, once the customer is converted, they'll be able to register themselves. They will then upload files. They'll be assigned to upload files. There will be just a simple file upload component on the experience portal site. They will then update the third-party agent will then convert the prospect by updating. Once they convert the prospect, the opportunity itself is then assigned automatically to the branch manager of the region. That's going to be based on the role that the branch manager is assigned to. The opportunity, once it's created, will have opportunity line items and products for the different interests that they have, for the different products that they have. That will be, of course, integrated or linked with the price book entries and products and price books, or the linkage of the pricing. Those price books and price book entries and products will be fed in from via nightly batch from the existing solution that includes information around the financial products. So I'm assuming the pricing and the products will be sourced. The source of truth for those objects will be coming from the core banking system, and that will be updated on the nightly batch. The application status will then be set to in progress, and then we'll have validation rule if based on the age of the customer. And then there will be a maximum of 5 applications on the opportunity. What we'll do is have 5 different custom fields, or a primary custom field, which will be the account on the opportunity, then 4 additional fields for the additional applicants. There will be a Marketing Cloud email send with the template for the with a template for the request for information, denial of application, as well as other general matters. What we'll do is have an email send from Marketing Cloud that they can just simply reply to, and that data that from the reply will be then fed back into Salesforce. There'll be an approval process as well if the application account, so that for opportunities associated with someone who's a foreign investor, that will then be approved using an approval process within Salesforce for the opportunity. Once the if the bank application is reviewed by a government agency, the core banking system will first be informed about the cancellation of the application. I'm going to assume that the core system via SOAP API will be able to integrate with Salesforce over an ESP. The ESP will, of course, mediate that and then update the opportunity as closed lost, and then inform the staff member that it is also closed lost. If the application details are complete and it's all good, then we'll have the branch staff that will be able to then update the opportunity as closed won, which then moves the application to the account for processing. The application details are then sent to the core banking system. This is going to need to be request and reply, since it is necessary that we have an error that's returned if the call out has failed for their visibility. And if it does fail, then they'll be able to see that from the screen flow, which we'll be making a call out from. The opportunity is updated with the account once it's integrated with the account number, once it's integrated with the core banking system. And that will then create a contract with record details per applicant. So there will be multiple different contracts that are created as a part of the opportunity. Contracts are then linked to those business person accounts. Then we'll have a scheduled flow for the email to be sent to the branch staff member if the application is not submitted as well. So that will be kind of a janitor that will pick up applications that have been sitting idle. Moving on now to the customer service process, we have the ability for customer service center agents to be able to make calls, outbound calls using Salesforce Voice. They will also be able to send emails, including triggered sends using Marketing Cloud. There will be an email journey as well, possibly. We'll also have digital engagement for the live chat. The contact center agents will be able to search for customers using a screen flow that will be able to search using the customer number, 4-digit social security number, and bank account number. The customer, if it doesn't exist, will be able to be created manually using the customer creation screen flow that will then have a request and reply with the core banking system. If that creates an error, then they will see that error immediately. The customers will be able to raise service requests on their mobile device or portal using the Salesforce mobile app. When the case is created, that will then use skill-based routing via omnichannel that will then assign the agent a request or a case. They'll own the case at that point, and then they will be able to handle that request. There will be entitlements and milestones for the different priority levels that are assigned to the account. So there will be an entitlement per account that it has associated cases for the different milestones. We'll have escalation rules as well for the ability for the VPs, for the regional managers to be on top of the cases that are currently sitting. And then we'll leverage the managed package locate for the validation of the addresses. If the customer is in an active status, then we'll have the customer service agent be able to we will prevent the customer service agent from making changes to the record that will be enforced via a validation rule on the inactive status. Any updates to the address details, if it is validated within locate, will be integrated with the core system using CDC. The ESP will facilitate that. They will, using Apache Kafka, be able to subscribe to the event channel and then communicate any updates to addresses using its mediation and callouts using SOAP. There will be a LWC that will then make request and reply for the contact center agents that will be able to show the credits and debits to their account. I chose not to persist any data for the credits and debits to their account and I'm assuming that I can make a request to reply with the core system that will then return a paginated view of the credits and debits. It will also be able to filter using the LWC as well based on the date range, account number, and type. Their customer center managers will be able to also additionally create employee discipline records that only they have access to. We'll restrict that using OLS, and there will be permission set for the contact center managers for that ability to restrict that OLS. Customers will be able to, sorry, it won't be OLS. We'll have we won't rely entirely on OLS because we're actually using the case object for this. Actually, we'll have a separate object just because it's super secure. So we'll have a separate object for the employee discipline records. And those we'll be looking up to using a hierarchical lookup. We'll look up to the user object. And we just by itself, in case we want to link it to a case, we can link it to the case as well, since it is just one record for the service agents. The customers will be able to raise service requests, modify their profile data, and view back and crowdsource answers to questions using the customer free portal. Salesforce will integrate with Core via CDC for updating all customer information, since the customer information needs to be flowed downstream into Core banking system. Salesforce will then integrate with the Core system as well for the bank accounts and relationships using CDC. I chose to use CDC since it is large data, and we need to be transmitting all of the updates to that data using platform events, since it's a high volume and high number of updates potentially. The customer bank accounts and the relationships are created directly within the account banking system and then update Salesforce using an ETL, using batch data processing nightly. The data steward will cleanse the data that exists within spreadsheets. Since it is in the spreadsheets, we can load those into a staging table and then deduplicate as a part of the controlled cutover data migration. The data warehouse will be able to federate data using it's called out that the data warehouse itself is really really just federates and brings data from external sources. What I'm going to assume is that the data warehouse can integrate with the Salesforce system using the ESB. The data warehouse will then be able to pull in data from the Salesforce environment. Duplicate rules will be enforced for the duplication of customer information, restricting, preventing duplication. Salesforce Archive will be used for cold storage of old records, and we'll have progressive archival for the older records as they become non-operational records. And then for any operational records, those will be persisted, including the customers and accounts. Salesforce Archive will virtualize the data within S3. So the S3 will store the CSV data, and then that will be virtualized within Salesforce. We'll use standard reporting for the reporting needs and analysis of applications. Opportunity reporting will be used by the branch executives that will be able to then report on opportunity pipelines and also on KPIs for the branch managers. The data virtualization via Salesforce Archive will then expose the customers their history of service requests that they've raised. There will be a timestamp on the opportunity to be able to show trend analysis and how long the application has been in various stages over time. Okta will federate identities using its Okta agent that integrates with the Active Directory store. There will also be an LDAP store that's being used for the third-party agents that will also be integrated with the Okta system and will enable the social sign-on using both identity providers. That's why we're using the both identity stores. That's why we're using an identity provider that can federate from two different stores. SCIM will facilitate the automatic deprovisioning and provisioning of users, and then we'll have self-registration via the portal enabled for customers that want to self-register. Moving on to now to the security requirements, we'll have 10 different regions, so we can use criteria-based sharing rules for the customer and related information based on the geographic location. Criteria-based sharing rules will also enable the branch managers and executives to view information for the region that they manage. We'll use role hierarchy for this, since they are already able to view information related to the within the branch users within their sales pipeline. The role hierarchy will also enable them to see the customers and related information within their geographic region, since we're going to use criteria-based sharing rule for the branch staff. And that will then facilitate the visibility for the branch managers. There will be the permission set per record type. We'll have the private case OWD, and then we'll leverage a hierarchy for the third-party agents to have management that are a role above them. That will then be able to view all the third-party agents' case records that are assigned to them. The branch managers will own the account, and they will own the account for the third-party agents. They'll own those as well, so they can view them. There'll be a public group with view all via the criteria-based sharing rule for the cases for the service agents. Service agents will also be able to view all the cases raised within their geographic location using criteria-based sharing rules on the case object. And then that will share with the public group, or actually with the role for the contact center agents, and as well as we'll have a public group for the different geographic regions, and then use criteria-based sharing rules to share with those regions. And then we'll have the criteria-based sharing rule share with the role for the all customer visibility. The contact center agents cannot delete the customer record, so we'll have OLS that restricts that. OLS will also restrict the ability for the contact center agents to view the employee discipline records, which is the separate object for discipline. There will be data masking on social security number to restrict the visibility of the social security number to the last 4 digits. We'll have knowledge articles and case knowledge that we'll share with the we'll have knowledge articles that we'll share with the customers, and it be published for the customers. And cases will be visible to the customer via sharing set. There will be the customers will be customer community users, so they'll be able to view their own records. There will be reporting via the role hierarchy that will then grant the executives access to all of their subordinate records across all the different regions. And then we'll leverage mutual TLS with CA signed certificates for the secure tunnel of data that will be interchanged between the different systems. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.